The stunts you're about to see are performed by professionals. For your safety and the protection of those around you, do not attempt any of what you're about to see.
So chances are you heard the news. Total Drama Island is coming back for 2 brand new seasons on HBO Max and Cartoon Network. Not Total Drama-rama, not Redonkulous Race, but the original Total Drama Island format with a modern cast. Of course, fans are rejoicing at the idea of getting the stories we've been clamoring for. And while I'm excited for a return to form, there's another Canadian TV series that I'd love to shed light on while Total Drama is still a hot topic. A show from the exact same creators as Total Drama. One that I think also deserves another shot in the modern age, and if anything, could be stronger than ever in both quality and popularity. A cartoon that's been a favorite of mine since a young age, that's aged mostly well with time. It's time to bring back 16.
It's a good thing this isn't a TV show. Why? Because if it was, everything would go horribly wrong after the commercial break.
For the uninitiated, what is 16? I'm glad you asked. As the title implies, 16 is a comedy about a friend group composed of 6 16-year-olds. Caitlin, Nikki, Jen, Jude, Jonesy, and Wyatt. They all get jobs at a Megaplex shopping mall in order to hang out for the summer, which in itself was used as an avenue to explore relatable issues and situations for, quite frankly, a teenage audience. But it didn't shy away from just being a pseudo-adult cartoon. It couldn't even air over here in America without copious amounts of censorship and unaired episodes. The topics range from some pretty universal experiences, such as lying on your resume to get a job, dating coworkers, getting dumped over text, and managing your first bank account, to some more interesting places that I definitely think wouldn't have flown on an American kids channel.
Is it your time of the month? Mine too! Do you realize what this means? Our cycles have synced up.
Like walking in on one of your best friends while they're naked, at a time where the two are becoming step-siblings. Or stuffing your bra in order to make your boobs look bigger to impress a guy. Yeah, I see why some of these episodes didn't air on Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network. What made these topics work is what makes any great television work. A cast of memorable characters. This ensemble is just as memorable as they are lovable, but lovable doesn't exactly mean all of them are the best people. Looking at you, Jonesy.
The Gigantoplex is a great place to pick up chicks.
Everyone has their quirks and standout traits. Caitlin is the rich kid who gets cut off from her parents and has to learn to be among the working class, but clearly has a slightly warped view of reality with her poor work ethic and sense of entitlement. But she is a good friend. She's also the friend of the group who can't really handle being single, the girl who always dates around. Nikki is the snarky alternative girl of the group who's often irritated by the antics surrounding her. She's not necessarily a nihilist, she just sees the world for what it is. She greatly resents any conformity, especially gender roles, so of course her job is at the Khaki Barn, a clothing store with the slogan, "Where individuality is highly overrated." Jen is the workaholic overachiever of the group, always aiming high and raising the bar for herself, so naturally, she's the athletic type who works at the show's equivalent to Foot Locker. Jonesy is the smooth-talking slacker, whose running bit is that he gets fired from whatever new job he has in that episode, and is a huge womanizer unless he's dating Nikki, which is for half of the series. Honestly, a pretty great move in making Jonesy way more likable as a person when the only thing he has left to cheat is the system. Jude is the stoner character. Like, they don't really try to hide it. This dude smokes weed. And he has the same voice actor as Chris McClain. And he's in Total Drama-rama for some reason. Last but not least, Wyatt. Wyatt is the level-headed yet easily stressed out friend of the group, with a strong passion for music that I personally appreciated more than any of the other characters, off the merit of having a lead black character who was into all sorts of music, and wasn't just bogged down into a stereotype. As the show evolved, the writing of the characters only became stronger. They felt like real people. But this is starting to sound like a review, and that kind of video can come later.
We have the right to life, puberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
So, why didn't 16 take off in the US? Don't get me wrong, plenty of people who live in the US probably had a blast of 16. Hell, I'm clearly someone who enjoys the show myself. I go out of my way to binge a bunch of episodes every year. Yet, neither 16 nor Stoked ever came close to the heights of Total Drama Island. With the shows being cut from the same cloth, why did audiences largely resonate with only Total Drama? Well, I believe Total Drama Island truly appeals to all ages. While its writing and humor is very similar to 16, the challenges from the nutjob himself, Chris McClane, are so insane and cartoony that the network's target demographic of 6 to 11 would be captivated by the absurdity of it all. But it also managed to have the appeal of a genuine reality show, a large diverse cast of characters that viewers can invest themselves into, and as the name implies, there's plenty of drama to go around. Shipping, sabotage, or just good old competition. And again, when it comes down to it, the show's sense of humor really isn't that different from 16. Total Drama itself is just much less grounded. So because these shows aren't really written as children's shows, but again, more of honest-to-God teenager shows, older viewers are able to appreciate the show as well. Like if you were in high school watching Total Drama Island, I highly doubt you were alone. Hell, it was one of the few animated series that people in my middle school openly watched when it aired. But 16 did not have as much of an advantage as Total Drama. I honestly think for many viewers that were the target demographic, the show being grounded in reality with its stories probably didn't convince any 6 to 11-year-olds to stick around. Total Drama didn't necessarily rely on relatability, but 16 absolutely does. And can kids really relate to a bunch of teenagers working at a mall? I was just the kind of kid who watched anything animated. And again, I absolutely adored this show, and I already had that emotional connection with Wyatt, but I could understand why other viewers wouldn't have felt the same way. Not to mention, 16 kinda had the odds stacked against it from the jump. When it first came over to America, it aired on Nickelodeon in 2005. I remember watching it after school on weekday afternoons, but it did not last that long in the network. Honestly, I think they got it because they thought it would fit in with the Drake and Josh Amanda Show type crowd, but once they realized how risque the show actually was, they decided to just pull the plug. It premiered on Nickelodeon in December of 2005 and was removed in May of 2006. It only lasted 6 months. But when Total Drama Island took off on Cartoon Network, they brought in 16 a few months later, and it lasted on the channel until June of 2010. And if memory serves, they actually managed to air most of the series. I'm pretty confident that the finale made it to TV, but I think the second chance at life in America didn't take off for a few reasons. One, it came on after Total Drama, and I believe it aired at like 9 p.m. It was right before the era of Adult Swim starting at 9 and eventually 8. And I think people who tuned in for Total Drama Island didn't want to stick around because 1, it was probably a school night, and 2, they came for Total Drama. It also didn't help that Cartoon Network kicked things off with its Halloween special, Night of the Living Dude. Like, yeah, newcomers are totally gonna love this one. And not just, you know, the proper first episode. And also, as where Total Drama Island was produced in HD and looked like a modern cartoon for the time, because Cartoon Network had to start from the beginning, 16 visually looked a bit dated. And while that didn't really have an impact on me, because I remembered the show from the Nickelodeon days and was delighted to have it back on air, I can see how that could be jarring to newcomers. But ultimately, I think it may have had the same barrier that it did on Nickelodeon. I imagine the target demographic still couldn't relate to it. There are so many ways to get invested into Total Drama Island, but 16 is truly a different beast. Anything risque in Total Drama Island is tenfold in 16. But that's just part of the course of Canada. But having so many mature themes and topics in the show, I just don't believe it jives with the audience all too well. If anything, this series was probably better off airing on Adult Swim. That would have been the perfect show to transition from Cartoon Network to Adult Swim, while targeting the right audience. And that way, they wouldn't have had to leave out so many episodes. If anything, this series probably would have grown. Adult Swim probably would have done it justice. Of course, these are just all my speculations. I could be totally off, but I hope these reasons make at least a little bit of sense.
We're 18 now. We can finally vote.
Now, this is where things get interesting. In 2018, 16 had a really unique comeback. Despite being made in Canada and the series taking place in Canada, they released a mini-sode PSA for the United States primaries. And this time, they went full adult with it. Not only were the characters aged up to 18, but they were just casually swearing.
OMG, drop dead! Aw, I missed your bitchiness.
Jonesy was a Trump supporter, Caitlin muttered the words pussy hat, Wyatt was just stressing over the state of the world, and Jude was openly hotboxing.
Stop, dude.
Now, if all of this sounds like it was too much, or that it wasn't the 16 everyone remembered, or that they were pushing some sort of agenda, blah, 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 it really wasn't. It really was just a shorter episode of the show. The chemistry was still there. Everyone was extremely in character. The voice acting was as sharp as ever, and the short even concludes with them realizing, oh yeah, we're in Canada. This doesn't really affect us.
We really got caught up in that for a minute.
And if anything, it affirmed to me that I wanted more. That if the franchise continued in any capacity, this is the direction they needed to take.
Attention, punks! You are all loitering on mall property!
Oh my god! You're still alive?
Alright, so I can't say that 16 is the show that deserves a revival, that it was cut too soon, because it honestly had a pretty nice run. It ran for 6 years and 4 seasons, having nearly 100 episodes, and a pretty satisfactory series finale. But at the same time, as long as you keep the writing sharp, this is one of those shows that could truly go on forever. And the best way to do that is to keep them aged up, which is why, instead of bringing back 16, they could simply make a sequel series titled 18. Total Drama Island has proven that they can handle a large cast of characters. So just adding 2 more characters to the group would not only have it live up to its name of 18, but it would probably spruce up the character dynamics and keep the show fresh. Not to mention, as legal adults, the show would be able to fully explore adult themes. We already had a taste of it in the PSA, and well, in the original show itself, but now they can go all out, balls to the walls with it. Let me see an episode about shitty roommates. Maybe in addition to the status quo, that some of the characters could live together, like Wyatt, Jude, and Jonesy. Give me an episode about Jude's weed escapades. I know the show could give us a fire episode about pens and carts. Maybe Jen accidentally eats an edible, I don't know. And as for the aspect of the mall, this is where the show and its social commentary can naturally blend in with the state of the world. Even before the pandemic, there were talks of malls being a dying breed. They really don't hit the same anymore. And that could be the strong focus of a revival. Now the mall is dying, and maybe they need to think of ways to save it. In fact, if they wanted a storyline to be spread throughout episodes, this would be the perfect angle. And instead of Jonesy getting fired from every job in every episode, maybe the gag this time is that he keeps getting new jobs and new stores, but they keep shutting down every episode. And I'm sure social media would be a thing, as Kaitrin made an offhand comment about being an influencer in the PSA. And instead of having to air on television, this revival could remain completely on streaming. The original series is on YouTube and Tubi, but I can see this being a hit on Netflix or HBO Max, especially as, again, it would finally be an unrestricted adult animated series. And Netflix needs more good animated adult comedies. There has been a hole in my heart since BoJack ended. In terms of public recognition in the US, 16 deserved better. So Fresh TV and any streaming services out there, if this video ends up crossing paths, please consider giving 16 another shot. I think this time the payoff would be greater than ever. Adult animation is kind of popping off right now. And while we're already revisiting some beloved IP, I think this is one that would seriously pay off in the end. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to throw it a like and subscribe. Shout out to our patrons, and we'll see you next time.